In the bustling city of Lagos lived Chinyere and her husband Chukwuma. They had been married for 15 years and together they had 5 children, 4 boys and a girl. The couple lived in a modest flat in Surulere, managing their lives as best as they could. Life wasn't easy, but they were content with what they had. Chukwuma was a hardworking man, an engineer with a construction firm, and Chinyere ran a small provision store close to their home. Their children were a handful. Uche, the eldest, was in secondary school, while the youngest, Chika, was barely 5 years old. Chinyere was constantly juggling between school runs, preparing meals, managing the shop, and looking after the children. It was a life of routine, and though tiring, she had found her balance. But all of this was about to change. One Monday morning, Chinyere woke up feeling nauseous. It was unusual for her. She hadn't felt this way since her last pregnancy with Chika. Dismissing it as a possible reaction to the pepper soup she had eaten the night before, she went on with her day. But the nausea persisted. By the end of the week, Chinyere noticed she hadn't seen her monthly period. Panic set in. Could it be? Was she pregnant again? We'll find out soon. But don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment where you're watching from. Let's keep enjoying the story. She decided to visit the local pharmacy to buy a pregnancy test kit. When she got home, she locked herself in the bathroom, shaking as she waited for the result. 2 red lines appeared on the test strip. Positive. Chinyere's heart sank. She sat down on the bathroom floor, feeling weak. She was 40 and her youngest child was already 5 years old. How could this happen? They hadn't planned for another child. In fact, after Chika's birth, she and Chukwuma had agreed they were done. They couldn't afford to raise another child. The thought of diapers, baby food, and sleepless nights terrified her. She sat there for what seems like hours before she had the front door opened. Chukwuma was home. She took a deep breath, unsure of how to tell him. Chinyere, what is wrong? Chukwuma asked, noticing the worry on her face as she sat quietly in their small living room that evening. The children were playing in their room, oblivious to the tension between their parents. She swallowed hard and whispered, "I'm pregnant." The words hung in the air like a heavy cloud. Chukwuma's face shifted from confusion to anger. "What do you mean you're pregnant? We agreed no more children. How could you let this happen?" Tears welled up in Chinyere's eyes. She could have been careful, hadn't she? But now it didn't matter. "I don't know. I didn't plan this," she said softly, wiping her eyes. Chukwuma stood up, pacing around the room. "Chinyere, we already have 5 children. Do you know what it means to have another one? The school fees, the feeding, everything. We can barely keep up as it is." His voice was rising. "I know," Chinyere snapped back, feeling frustrated. "You think I'm happy about this? I am not. But what do you want me to do now? It already happened." Chukwuma stopped pacing, rubbing his head in exasperation. "This is too much. I don't know how we are going to handle this," he muttered, more to himself than to her. The weight of responsibility was pressing down on him. They were barely managing to make ends meet. With the rent, school fees, and feeding the 5 children, another child felt like a burden too heavy to carry. For the next few days, Chinyere and Chukwuma barely spoke to each other. The silence in their home was deafening. Chukwuma avoided eye contact, while Chinyere busied herself with the children and her shop, trying not to think about the baby growing inside of her. She felt alone in her struggle, carrying the weight of an unwanted pregnancy that no one celebrated. A week later, Chinyere sat in her shop, her mind lost in thought. She hadn't told anyone about the pregnancy yet, not even her closest friend, Ngozi, who lived down the street. She was too ashamed. She could already imagine the gossip that would follow. People would wonder how she could be so careless after having 5 children already. Ngozi walked into the shop with her unusual bright smile. My friend, you look so down. What is going on?" she asked, noticing the dark circle under Chinyere's eyes. Chinyere sighed. "Ngozi, I am pregnant again." Ngozi's eyes widened in surprise. "Pregnant? Ah, Chinyere, after 5 children? How did this happen?" Chinyere shook her head, her voice breaking. "I don't even know. I didn't plan for this. I don't even know what to do." Ngozi sat down beside her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "I understand it's a shock, my friend. But what can you do? The baby is here now. You have to find a way to accept it. God knows why this happened." "But Ngozi, we don't have the money. Chukwuma is already angry. I don't even want this baby," Chinyere confessed, feeling a deep sense of guilt as the words left her lips. Ngozi's face softened. "Chinyere, I know it's not easy, but maybe this baby is a blessing you don't see yet. You've always been strong, and you will find a way to manage. Just give it time." Chinyere nodded, though she wasn't convinced. She thanked Ngozi for her kind words, but deep down, the fear of raising another child consumed her. As the weeks passed, Chinyere noticed her body changing. Her belly was beginning to show, and her nausea has become a constant companion. Chukwuma, though still upset, had softened a little. It didn't bring up the pregnancy as often, but Chinyere could tell that the burden weighed on him heavily. He worked longer hours, often coming home late and tired. One evening, as they sat in the living room after the children had gone to bed, Chinyere broke the silence. "Chukwuma, I know you're angry, but we have to talk about this baby. We can't keep ignoring it." He sighed, leaning back in his chair. "I am not ignoring it, Chinyere. I just don't know how to feel. We didn't plan for this. We are struggling as it is." "I know, but we can't change what has happened. We have to find a way to make it work," she said softly, her eyes pleading with him. Chukwuma rubbed his face, tired and conflicted. "I know, I have been thinking. Maybe you should rest more. You've been working too hard, and we need to make sure you and the baby are okay. I will try to pick up more shifts at work." Chinyere was surprised by his sudden change in tone. For the first time since the pregnancy, he was showing concern. She nodded, relieved that they were finally talking. "Thank you. I'll try to take it easy." As the months passed, Chinyere's belly grew, and gradually she began to accept the new life inside of her. The children noticed the changes in their mother, and soon Uche asked, "Mommy, are you having another baby?" Chinyere smiled weakly. Yes, Uche, there's a baby coming. The younger children were excited, but Uche, being older, seemed to understand the weight of the situation. He didn't say much, but gave his mother a knowing look. Chukwuma, though still burdened by the thought of another mouth to feed, had started coming around. He attended doctor's appointment with Chinyere and even began talking about names for the baby. Slowly, the tension in their home began to ease. One Sunday morning, Chinyere sat outside the house, watching her children play. She placed her hand on her swollen belly and sighed. Perhaps Ngozi had been right. Maybe this baby was a blessing in disguise, even though it didn't feel like it at first. 9 months after that fateful morning, when Chinyere had discovered she was pregnant again, she gave birth to a healthy baby girl. As she held her in her arms, a sense of peace washed over her. She was unexpected, but in that moment, she couldn't imagine her life without her. Chukwuma stood by her side, looking down at their child with a soft smile. I guess we will manage. Somehow, he said quietly. Chinyere smiled, tears filling her eyes. We always do. Dear viewers, life doesn't always go as planned, and sometimes we face unexpected challenges that seem overwhelming. However, with patience, love, and acceptance, we can find the strength to overcome them. Every new life is a blessing, even if it comes at a time when we feel least prepared for it. Thank you for watching, but please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment where you're watching from.